I'm Kendra Cook, your host for the DCTV News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, Colorado. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest Colorado TV Translator Association, which is the special district association responsible for bringing the area free-to-access TV stations over the air by antenna. This is a community TV station. If there's a news story or event information you'd like to share, you can call us at 970-677-4119. If you're a business or organization, we welcome you to find out more about sponsorship opportunities for banners or video segments run on the channel. This is the Wednesday program, which is aired at noon, 2 and 6 p.m. It's also available on demand online at both our YouTube channel and our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page. This is the program for January 29th, 2020, DCTV's News at Noon. From the Durango Herald, San Juan County, New Mexico photos. The San Juan County Sheriff's Office is investigating the disappearance of a Farmington woman who is a member of the local Mennonite community. Sasha Marie Krause, age 27, was last seen leaving her residence near the Farmington Mennonite Church on Road 5577 around 8 p.m. a week ago Saturday, the Sheriff's Office said in a news release. Deputies were dispatched to Lamp and Light Publishers, where Krause works on Road 5577 in Farmington, around 3 a.m. that past Sunday in relation to her disappearance. Detectives found Krause's vehicle parked at the church. The original news release said objects Krause would have taken with her under normal circumstances if she had left willingly were found in her residence. In an update Thursday afternoon, the Sheriff's Office said it spent all of Wednesday working with the search and rescue team hired by the Krause family to search the area surrounding the Mennonite church. The search and rescue team is made up of trained individuals and a tracking dog. On Wednesday, the Sheriff's Office continued to urge people to only share information coming from its official social media pages or media releases. Quote, information spread quickly, and we are asking that any information not confirmed by our office to not be shared. The Sheriff's Office said it was in the early stages of the investigation last Tuesday and is continuing to work closely with relatives and members of the Mennonite community to find Krause. Detectives are getting surveillance footage from local businesses and interviewing possible witnesses. The news release also encouraged people to follow the Sheriff's Office's social media sites for, quote, accurate and updated information. In a Facebook post, the Sheriff's Office said it was, quote, investigating every possible scenario as rumors and theories around Krause's disappearance began to spread on social media. The Sheriff's Office added, quote, we are absolutely doing everything we can and will continue to be as transparent as possible without hindering our investigation. Anyone with information about Krause can call non-emergency dispatch, which is 505-334-6622 in New Mexico. The Journal reports on a recent local trial. After deliberating for several hours, a jury found Shane French guilty of felony menacing of a peace officer, but deadlocked on the charge of first-degree felony assault of a peace officer. French went to trial on both counts last week. The charges filed by the 22nd Judicial District Attorney involved an incident March 5th in which he was tased twice at his home by his parole officer. The jury could not reach a unanimous decision on the first-degree assault charge. District Court Judge Todd Plew declared a mistrial for the charge of first-degree assault because jurors could not reach a unanimous verdict. Assistant District Attorney Matt Margerson dismissed the charge and does not plan to retry it. Jurors delivered a guilty verdict for the Class 5 felony menacing charge, and Plew scheduled sentencing for April 9th. Sentencing for Class 5 felony menacing ranges from 1 to 3 years in prison and or a fine of $1,000 to $100,000. Felony menacing is knowingly attempting to place someone in fear of imminent bodily injury, he said. Regarding the hung jury on the assault charge, juror Richard Markham said that the evidence failed to convince the jury that French was guilty. According to court reports, French's parole officer, Ryan Jenkins, went to French's home to deliver parole paperwork French had requested. As a state parole officer, Jenkins met requirements for a peace officer standards and training certification. When he met French at his bedroom door, Jenkins reported French walked towards him holding a weighted sock at shoulder height and yelling for him to get out. Jenkins testified he identified himself and pulled out his taser because he feared bodily harm. While walking backwards down a hall, he tased French after he did not comply with his orders to drop the sock. French fell to the floor and dropped the object, reports state. Jenkins then called 911 and then tased French again as he tried to retrieve the weighted sock, according to court reports. As a post-certified parole officer, Jenkins is authorized to deploy a taser. Prosecution argued there was sufficient evidence to seek a conviction against French for assault and menacing. French of Cortez had pleaded not guilty to both charges. The 3-day trial went to the jury for deliberation last Friday afternoon, and a verdict was delivered about 11:15 a.m. this past Monday. Murchison prosecuted the case, and public defense attorneys Jonathan Jourdain and Catherine Polanski represented French. Defense attorneys declined to comment about the verdict. The charges against French resulted from an incident March 5th at his home on Texas Street in Cortez. French, a qualified individual with a disability, was part of a high-profile tasing case at the same residence in 2014. He was repeatedly tased and charged with assault and resisting arrest. He pleaded not guilty, and a jury cleared him of all charges. In 2016, the French family filed a lawsuit against the Cortez Police Department, alleging police entered the residence illegally and repeatedly tased French while he was in handcuffs. In July, the city of Cortez agreed to pay $200,000 to the French family to settle a lawsuit against Cortez officers over the arrest. The city did not admit to any wrongdoing as part of the settlement. The Dolores County Sheriff's Office reported from the week of January 20th through the 26th. Deputies arrested Kyle Dungan and James Bolshield following a domestic violence response. Deputies responded to a reported suicidal subject. The subject was contacted and all was okay. A deputy responded to a county residence after a welfare check was requested by a family member who had been unable to contact the subject that had been sick recently. The individual was contacted and advised to call their family. Dolores County deputy responded to a noise complaint from Dove's Landing Trailer Park. Resident was asked to turn down the music. Reckless semi was reported. Deputies were unable to locate. Report of a stolen item. The case was referred to San Miguel County. And a deer that had been hit on Highway 141 was reported. Department of Wildlife was notified. And we'll bring you this local sheriff's roundup on Tuesdays on DCTV News at noon from here on out. Thank you to all those working in the Dolores County Sheriff's Office for keeping the peace. And now, let's take a look at the local weather into the weekend. Today, a 20% chance of snow showers before 3 p.m., partly sunny with a high near 35 degrees. Those northeast winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour become north 10 to 15 miles an hour in the afternoon. And into tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 15. The winds from the north continue at 10 to 15 miles an hour, creating some wind chill temperatures that just might take us down to the feel of single digits. For Thursday, the issue is winds, mostly sunny with a high near 35 degrees, north winds 5 to 10 miles an hour, and gusts as high as 20. Thursday night, mostly clear with a low around 14, with north winds around 10 miles an hour and gusty with bursts as high as 25. So keep those Thursday night fires going. For Friday, sunny with a high near 38 degrees, north winds 5 to 10 miles an hour, and Friday night mostly clear with a low around 19. And the weekend is looking for a slight warm up. Saturday sunny with a high near 44 degrees. Saturday night mostly clear with a low around 22, and Sunday sunny with a high near 46 degrees. Sunday night partly cloudy and a low around 25. But then as we head into the next week, Monday may bring a chance for additional snow showers, mostly cloudy with a high near 37. Monday night there remains a chance for snow showers, mostly cloudy and a low around 15. And now back to the news. Reported in the Colorado Sun, photo Jesse Paul. The U.S. Supreme Court last week agreed to hear Colorado's appeal of a federal court ruling that allows presidential electors to ignore the will of the people and back the candidate that they want. Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser and Colorado Secretary of State Jena Griswold last October petitioned the court to hear the case, hoping to avoid chaos this November. Griswold has said that the outcome affects, quote, the very foundation of our nation. Weiser praised the Supreme Court's decision, saying that the case is, quote, ripe for review, and that he's hopeful the panel will rule in Colorado's favor and not fundamentally alter the Electoral College, the U.S. system of electing presidents. The situation dates to 2016, when then Secretary of State Wayne Williams removed a presidential elector who refused to vote for Hillary Clinton, even though Clinton won the popular vote in Colorado. In August, the 10th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, based in Denver, ruled that the removal of the elector, Michael Baca, was unconstitutional. Baca, one of Colorado's 9 electoral voters, tried to cast his ballot for then Ohio Governor John Kasich, a Republican, instead of Clinton, as part of an attempt by a handful of electors across the country to block Republican Donald Trump from becoming president. But the 10th Circuit found that Colorado didn't have authority to remove Baca as an elector, eliminating the state's ability to bind electors to follow the will of Colorado voters. 2 other electors, Polly Baca and Robert Nemenich, intended to follow Baca's lead but ultimately did not. The three have battled the Colorado Secretary of State's office in court since the 2016 election. They are represented by equal citizens led by Harvard law professor Lawrence Lessig. The three have been, quote, referred to as faithless or Hamilton electors, the latter referring to U.S. founding father Alexander Hamilton, who helped outline the role of presidential electors in the Constitution. Quote, "We are glad the Supreme Court has recognized the paramount importance of clearly determining the rules of the road for presidential electors for the upcoming election and all future elections," Lessig said in a written statement. "My team and I will get right to work on our briefs, and we are looking forward to a full and fair hearing," unquote. Nemejik, who works as a discipline and suspension coordinator in Colorado Springs, where he lives, said that the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to take the case will give the three Colorado presidential electors, quote, "the exposure we are looking for," end quote. He feels the Electoral College is unfair and would prefer a system where the winner of the national popular vote would become president. Clinton actually won more votes than Trump nationally, they say, but lost the presidency to him because he won the Electoral College in 2016. Quote, "We have to get back to what a democracy is, and that will be a big way of fixing our totally split up partisan political process and government," Nemejik said on Friday. Even though, as a side note, we're not a democracy, we are a democratic republic. Quote, "Once politicians are beholden to the voters, they tend to start following what the voters' wishes are, or they get thrown out." Nemejik says he absolutely plans to travel to Washington, D.C. for oral arguments before the U.S. Supreme Court. Quote, "I wouldn't miss that for the world," he said, adding that he's been talking to national media outlets about the case. Quote, "We're making history," he said. Weiser says he thinks Colorado's case is solid. Quote, "We have a very strong textual argument," Weiser said last week, citing the Constitution's provision that, quote, "each state shall appoint in such manner as a legislature may direct electors." Quote, "I would say the power to appoint includes the power to remove," Weiser said. There's a whole line of Supreme Court cases on this point, and if the other side's argument wins, that means if an elector took a bribe, the state is powerless to do anything, and I view that to be untenable, both as a matter of text of the Constitution and of common sense. Weiser expects a decision which will have national implications to be handed down before the November election. The next step involves oral arguments before the U.S. Supreme Court. Most states have laws binding presidential electors to vote for the presidential candidate who wins the popular vote in the state. In Colorado, presidential electors are chosen by individual political parties at their respective state conventions. Quote, "Unelected and unaccountable presidential electors should not be allowed to decide the presidential election without regard to voters' choices and state law," Griswold said in a written statement. "When Americans vote in the presidential election, we are exercising our most fundamental right, the right to self-governance." The Washington and Colorado state cases were merged to be heard simultaneously by the Supreme Court. And an update on the recent announcement that Dove Creek will be getting high-speed internet access through a combination of programs. This was reported in the Colorado Sun at the end of November with a photo James Pendleton from the USDA. The far western Colorado town of Dove Creek, population, they say, 724, became the first municipality in the state to benefit from the $600 million federal grant program to help build better rural broadband in agricultural communities. Utah-based Emory Telecom was awarded a $2.7 million grant, which will be used to provide gigabit broadband service to 494 homes and businesses in Dove Creek, plus another 57 across the border into Utah. The grant is from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Reconnect Loan and Grant Program. Quote, "This is going to be great for our businesses," Town Manager Irvin Sonny Fraser said. Congress provided funding in 2018 for the Reconnect program to focus on building broadband infrastructure in rural America. The agency received 146 applications asking for $1.4 billion during a 6-week period that extended into July. So far, $112.7 million has been awarded. At least 2 other applicants are from Colorado and still awaiting word. Broadband has been identified by many as a necessity, not a luxury. Mary Kurtz, Elevate's senior business project manager, said winning the award would help the company build out broadband to the farming communities. Currently, the alternative is wireless internet that is expensive and slow, or less than 5 megabits per second. Emory Telecom, based in Orangeville, Utah, offers broadband and cable TV service on the eastern side of Utah and in Monticello, which is just 27 miles west of Dove Creek. Jared Anderson, Emory's chief operating officer, said permitting will start immediately. Emory representatives attended a Dolores County Commissioner meeting recently in which they laid out their plans, which start with that permitting process throughout 2020 and with actually installation of the lines expected to start and finish in 2021. In a DCTV meeting, it was discussed that the service would be connected directly to each resident in town without a charge to them and facilities within a certain distance of the highway. The lines at this point are projected to be installed in both trenches underground and above ground on poles where needed. Negotiations with Empire Electric are still undergoing. It was said that the service would also be made available at an affordable rate. The DCTV board is excited to be able to offer tenants in the business park the opportunity for connection to higher internet speeds there. The company has 5 years to complete the project or lose the federal grant. Anderson said prices will be similar to services it offers in Moab, Utah, which hovers around $100 a month for both fiber internet and a phone service. The company also has cable TV service, but is unlikely to offer it in Dove Creek. Quote, as part of the grant process, I went and met with the town, he said. They were instrumental in getting letters of support, which is one of the ways the USDA ranks applicants. Dove Creek and several other communities were supposed to get better broadband funded by a federal grant back in 2013 to help EagleNet expand. But the grant was suspended due to environmental issues, according to an Associated Press report at the time. Quote, EagleNet was supposed to put in stuff in the schools, but ended up maybe a mile out of town, Fraser said. The county took it and ran fiber from the courthouse to the schools, but we've been fighting the fight to get it here ever since. The Reconnect grant was open to communities with no internet or slower than 10 MIPS down and 1 MIPS up for up. Many of the applicants want to build gigabyte fiber to the home, which means download speeds that are 100 times faster. There was no limit to how much a grant-winning company could charge for their internet services. USDA Public Affairs Specialist James Pendleton, whose photo is here, happened to stop in Dove Creek on a road trip, said it was difficult to determine how many grant applicants were from Colorado, but he expects award announcements to continue trickling out into this year. According to the Colorado Broadband Office, rural internet coverage has improved dramatically as state grants to private companies and local towns have helped offset some of the costs. Broadband now reaches 86% of the state's rural households, up from 77% just 2 years ago. But that means that there are still underserved communities, said Matthew Atwood, press secretary for U.S. Representative Scott Tipton, whose district includes Dove Creek. In Conejos County, for example, only 9.9% of the population has access to broadband download speeds of at least 25 MIPS, he said. And today's High Canyon Country happenings. Of course, it's Coffee Cup Wednesday, Hump Day, and today I have a classic, at least for this agricultural area. It's, ta-da, a John Deere mug. Nothing runs like a John Deere, nothing runs like a deer or someone after drinking lots of caffeinated coffee, but I digress. So there's lots going on for our nation and in the news, but apparently we still find time to gather around the television to watch the end of the football season's massive sports event. So though most homes boast some big screen TVs these days, it doesn't substitute for hanging out with neighbors, friends, family, and strangers in a bar. So this Sunday, February 2nd, you might want to head out to the State Line Bar and Grill. They have 3 Super Bowl boards up with cash prizes every quarter, $1, $5, and $10 boards. Door prizes will be at halftime, but you must show up before to get a ticket. Always fun side bets also. Drink specials all day, and the brunch menu runs till 2. It opens at Sunday at 11 a.m. and the menu is on all day. Free shuttle picks up in Dove Creek and Monticello. You can call for more information at 970-677-2649. And the Granary in Monticello, Utah will also be open Super Bowl Sunday from 4 p.m. until the game ends. They say come watch on our big screen while eating some good grub and delicious drinks. You must be 21 years or older with a valid ID to enter, as it's Utah's laws. And sooner than this weekend, today, January 29th at 6 p.m. tonight at Fence Line Cider, acoustic duo Kevin and Maddie will be playing a variety of music from country to blues, soul, and rock and roll. It's a sweet and savory musical cuisine you have to taste for yourself. And that's all happening in Mancos. And I post up all of these High Canyon Country happenings on our Facebook page, which is DCTV News at Noon, where you can also watch the program replay along with news, links, and stories of local interest. And you too can share other events or news there and join in on the conversation. And don't forget to submit a cool or fun coffee mug or cup You can send in a photo or loan it to me for the day on Wednesday, and we'll be featuring it right here on the show. Again, this is your local community TV station, so if you have something you'd like to share, contact us by email. It's dcbnnews@gmail.com, or you can call us at 970-677-4119. Thank you for tuning in to News at Noon. The programs are broadcast Monday through Friday with replays online on our YouTube channel or DCTV News at Noon Facebook page. If you like the program, please like and follow us on Facebook and share it with your friends and family. This has been a production of DCTV for the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, Colorado, USA. I'm Kendra Cook. And again, thank you for tuning in.